Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Ads Developer Summit. I'm Dan Spurlock, a senior software engineer on the video ads team, and today we're going to be going over a few topics related to ads. First, I'll give a very quick intro and overview into the Roku Ads framework for those who may not be familiar, and then we will go into the Roku Ad Manager tool that will be presented by Dan Lipinski. We have a QR code and URL for anyone who wants to post questions for the Q&A portion. So feel free to post your questions there and we'll answer as many as we can. So the Roku Ads framework is a very simple to use Bright script library, and it provides all the tools needed for your application to monetize publisher inventory through video ads. This is a library that you include in your client application, and it's very simple. You can simply add a line to your manifest file that declares the dependency on RAF. And with a few API calls added to your app flow, you can be rendering and displaying ads to your users. So some of the main features that the Roku Ads framework provides are standards-based ad request and response parsing. So this allows you to interact and send requests to pretty much any ad server. And with a built-in parser, we support parsing responses for all the major standard ad response formats. So VAST and VMAP, Freewheel, Smart XML, Google Ads Manager, and that parser takes the various ad response formats and converts them into a data structure that can be used to pass around to other Roku Ads Framework APIs to get the additional functionality. Another major feature of the client framework is ad measurement and tracking, and the ads framework supports firing impressions, quartiles, tracking pixels. It can do this automatically in the cases where the Roku Ads framework is rendering the ads itself. It'll manage firing all these impressions and beacons for you internally. It also supports an external fire tracking events API where you can manually fire impressions or tracking events as needed, and different use cases that may be a a different approach for firing these impressions where the Roku Ads framework may not necessarily be in charge of rendering the ad playback. A big part of that measurement and tracking, and including firing the impressions and beacons, is the watermarking functionality. So as part of the beacon and pixel firing, the Roku Ads framework will also watermark those impressions and events. So we partner with third-party vendors who track and monitor for ad fraud. And that watermarking that we provide actually ensures that the impressions and tracking events originated from a Roku device. So it can detect things like spoofing or other invalid ad traffic, and that provides a lot of value and security to the overall ad ecosystem through that watermark functionality. So that's an important benefit that's provided through this ads framework. And finally, the other main feature is the flexible ad rendering use cases. So we support a few different models. Client-side ad insertion, which is the kind of the simplest integration for ad serving. That's where you provide a URL to make ad requests. There's a single call to fetch ads and a single call to render ads. So you make a call to retrieve ad responses, and when you're ready to show an ad, you simply make a single API call, and at that point, the Roku Ads framework takes over and manages all the playback. We also support client-side ad stitching, which is another form of client-side ad insertion. The benefit of this approach is that it provides a seamless playback experience to the user because in this mode, we can pre-buffer the ads while the content is still playing. In this mode, the Roku Ads framework is managing both the content playback and the ad playback. So you essentially call an API in the ads framework with your content information, ad information, and RAF constructs um, a playlist to play back both the content and the ads. We also support server-side ad insertion, and the way we do that is by providing adapters for many of the common stitching services. And those adapters manage the interaction between the stitching service and the Roku Ads framework. And that allows things like client-side impression and tracking firing, even though the ads are being served and stitched on the server side. So that's a overview of what's provided through the Roku Ads framework. You can go to developer.roku.com for all the API reference documentation and complete documentation about the features. And it also includes links to sample projects for getting started. And with that, I think we'll hand it over to Dan Lipinski, who will talk about the Roku Ad Manager.
Hello, everybody. I'm Dan Lipinski. It's nice to meet you all, and I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to hear what we have to tell you. I run product marketing for Roku Ad Manager. It's a self-serve ad platform set up for channel partners and developers to help them promote their channels and their apps on Roku devices. It's the best way and easiest way for you to promote your services and help drive downloads and first-time viewers. So I'm going to talk to you about that today. Before we kind of get into the platform benefits itself, I just want to quickly lay out a little bit about what's happening in streaming. And the TLDR here is that streaming is booming and Roku is leading the way. Just this year, 23 into 24, we saw TV streaming officially surpass traditional TV reach among 18 to 49. That's a huge, momentous occurrence in the streaming industry. It means more people are choosing to stream their TV than they are watching it linearly, which means much more access to the apps and channels that you guys are creating, as evidenced in the top left chart. We are the leader in the streaming space, that is Roku, America's #1 TV streaming operating system. And almost half of all streaming time in the US is spent on our devices. Just a huge number. We reach about 120 million people daily on the Roku home screen. And the Roku home screen has a big banner on it. You'll notice if you go to the page, that banner is available for ad placement for any of the apps that you guys have. Premium placement, and click to download. So just some really interesting stuff. And on the right-hand side of the screen, just some kind of breakouts of Roku's audience, just to give you an idea again of what our scale looks like. End of the day, we mirror the population. So our median age is about 42, distributed pretty evenly across age buckets. On our side, 66% of our audience is cordless. That means you can't reach them elsewhere on cable, which is just just another big reason why you should be advertising on the platform itself. And 1 in 3 users can't be reached on any other streaming device. 30% of our homes have over 4 people in them. So just a really valuable audience for new channels launching or channels trying to promote their content and grow their reach. We can move forward. So it's all about increasing viewership, and that's what Roku Ad Manager was built for. That's admanager.roku.com. Sign up is free. It's easy to use. But at the end of the day, we want to help you guys promote your apps on placements that you only have access to, and to do so in a way that provides reporting that matters, by targeting the right users and helping them complete their streaming journey. So you can think of Roku Ads Manager as a front door into the ad placements that you find on Roku. Those ad placements can be our home screen banners, they could be our screensavers, which happens inside of Roku City, our beloved kind of scrolling purple screen, but also video ads as well. Roku is a place where users go to search and discover content that they're looking for. On the far right-hand side on this screen highlighted is that banner unit, that one with the cute dog there. That's a placement that's available on Roku Ad Manager. So you can own that giant placement on the page. You can choose to buy on an impression basis, or you can choose to buy on an install basis. So totally up to you, depending on how you want to buy it. And we start campaigns for as low as $500. But it's a really great place to make search and discovery viable right on the home screen. This is our second creative unit that is available on Roku Ads Manager. It's called the Screensaver unit. It happens inside of Roku City. Roku City is that purple scrolling page on the back. If you're not using your TV for a few minutes, it will revert into that, and then it'll provide a banner in there. You guys can buy that screensaver banner again on CPM or CPI, and it's just another good place for you to promote the content or the channels that you guys have available. Users are prompted to pick up the remote, press play, and they can be driven right to your app download page. And then lastly, we have video units. At the end of the day, people are logging onto their TV screen to view video. So if you have video assets, we also offer video on demand or ad-supported video on demand or AVOD reach inside of the platform. That means you can take a video asset and have that run in a non-skippable environment to users to, again, help promote your content. If you have really good quality videos that are 15 or 30 seconds long, uploading them into the platform and serving them inside of other streaming ad-supported content is a great way to put your message in front of users who you know are already watching ad-supported streaming. So just, again, a really good way for you to promote your content, especially if you have high-quality video assets. And then one of the last things we'll talk about is the ease of use here. I mentioned it briefly, but we'll talk on it again just quickly. Um, Sign up is free. You can do so at any time, admanager.roku.com. You can publish campaigns for as little as $500. You end up paying with a credit card for those. Any spend that is not delivered, should you choose to pause your campaign at any time, or maybe the campaign doesn't deliver at any time, is refunded automatically right back to your card. So just a really easy payment flow and really low levels of commitment. And copy campaigns, extend campaigns. So there's a whole lot of work that can be done in the platform to make it easy to use and to sign up. I would encourage you guys to take a look at that platform now. Creating a campaign and uploading a creative is super easy. You should be able to create a campaign in minutes. Creatives are standard creative assets. So if you have display formats that you're using, and just upload those image files in there. We'll provide some light direction inside of the platform. And if it's video files, you simply upload the video file that you have. We also take tags as well. So just really easy. After you publish your campaign, we will charge your card and your campaign will go live, and you'll find reporting inside of the platform as your campaign delivers. So again, really easy to use, free to sign up. Would encourage anyone listening in today who has a new channel or has a channel and you're looking to expand your reach to consider using this tool to help do so against Roku homes. And that's the end of the Roku Ads Manager presentation. And just to kind of do a quick recap, Roku Ads Manager is a place for channel partners in the United States and abroad to promote their new or existing channels, provides unique ad formats for streamers watching content on Roku or logging into their Roku devices to see your ads and then download your apps. And all is done in a non-committal approach. So if you're looking about growing reach and trying to do that on America's #1 TV streaming platform, we encourage you to visit admanager.roku.com and sign up and get started. Thank you so much again for your time and attention today. We are going to wrap on the presentations today and move right into Q&A.
Awesome. Big thanks to the Dans for a great presentation. We're now going to switch to our live Q&A where our Dans and Robin are going to answer all your questions that are in the Slido. And let's take a quick look. We've got plenty of questions for the team to answer. All right, let's start with the first question. Recently, I had to make changes in the parse ping dash flow in the SSAI, the RAFX SSAI adapter for Amazon Web Services for proper ad tracking and pushing new server-side ads. Why the line number 1287 in the files kept stream current ad duration instead of, I mean, you can see the line, me reading this is going to be a mouthful, but you can kind of see the lines of code here. It's probably one of the most technical questions we've had in the Dev Summit. But team, go ahead.
I can take a stab at that one. So, we
ad duration instead of.
Oh, can you hear me? There we go.
Yeah, we can hear. You're good.
Okay. So yeah, I have seen this before where, this particular line of code that you're talking about, it's an implementation that we have with Amazon that they've laid out for us. So we worked with them in setting all of this up. and their platform is changing all of the time, and there may be improvements that we can make to that implementation, and we can update this code that we have to reflect that so others can take advantage of it. I don't know about this specific setting here and why it's set that way, but we've got contacts at Amazon that we keep in touch with, and we can get that context. We can update it if it needs to be updated.
Okay. Great answer. Okay. Next question. Although there are guides to implement the Roku advertising framework, the challenge I know that many independent developers face is where to get ads. It'd be useful for a partner with an ad provider to provide a getting started guide, preferably something that anyone can follow to get real ads and get paid something, even small scale.
Yeah, I don't think there's a question there. I agree with that sentiment that we could continue to flesh out more getting started sort of monetization. We do have some documentation on the thresholds that Roku monetizes apps with, and a lot of the, you know, terms that we have encourage partners to increase engagement in their apps so they can meet those thresholds. So there's a lot of opportunity to do that via running display ads and things on our homepage promoting your apps and getting more user sort of participation there. And that can be more of an incentive to advertisers who want to run ads there. But beyond that, I agree, that it could use a better getting started sort of step by step.
Yeah. We've been integrating Roku header bidding for ads. Any thoughts on making test tools available to smoothen the integration experience? So the demand API.
To smooth the integration experience. So there, it is something where I think in the demand API sort of header bidding world, it's something that we're trying to constantly make changes to update to be standards compliant, more in line with current standards for bidding. With that in mind, I think there will be updates to the way that bidding is implemented in channels, and it'll be more, I think, focused around open RTB integrations and such. And that's something that we'll move forward with on a case-by-case basis and have to work with partners and schedule. And it's going to be an ongoing thing. But I think that's really the goal uh, is to move into more of a standards and compliance area in all respects of the way that RAF operates and, the way that we serve ads too.
Okay. Can Roku provide ads for small apps and independent developers?
I mean, there are opportunities to monetize through Ads Manager and run display advertisements and those sorts of ads. The in-stream video ads that Roku serves on the Roku Audience Network, or RAN as it's called, that does have thresholds applied to it for engagement, installs, and that sort of thing. So, yeah, that's basically the lay of the land.
Okay. All right. Are there any plans to provide support for skippable ads? And obviously we don't typically comment on forward-facing stuff on a roadmap, but I don't know if there's anything else to say, Robin.
It's allowed to implement skippable ads over if you have that sort of agreement with advertisers, that's fine. There isn't a use case for that currently on ads that Roku serves. We don't have skippable functionality possible there from an agreement sort of standpoint with our advertisers. We, tell them that their ads are not going to be skippable. So, but if you have your own agreements with them, that's fine. I think that's why that feature hasn't gotten a lot of attention historically, is because Roku isn't it doesn't have a use case for Roku monetization. That being said, there are ways to do it that are standardized through the Google IMA SDK. It'll implement an overlay, and there's ways that you can do it yourself and just have RAF dispatch beacons using fire tracking events, uh, and render your own video for ads. And I'm just saying that and acknowledging that that's the process that would need improvement, where you are responsible for that overlay. And I think, yeah, we'll continue to flesh that sort of thing out and open up features as it comes along, as we implement it over things. You'll see a lot in our own sort of Roku channel, and those things might give you an idea of directions that we're thinking about going. So, yeah.
Excellent. Great answer. Can you add more details on Roku ad watermarking documentation? Also, can you give a sample of how to include both client-side and server-side ads in the player task file? Currently facing issues from the Roku ads watermarking. First of all, I may address that you may be able to provide more details, including like a code sample where you're struggling in the Roku developer Slack channel. Now we can get that kind of forwarded on to engineering. I'm not sure where we can answer that without like specifically diving into the code. Robin, is there anything else to add on this one?
I mean, the watermark documentation, it does cover what the watermark is as a JWT token and how it's applied by RAF. I think that is kind of it at its heart. But the sort of relationships that we have with external providers, measurement providers, to catch fraudulent activity, to have them look at the beacons that they dispatch on different exchanges and things, and that do or do not come through RAF. I think that's the sort of nuance that's not documented publicly. And maybe it's just the rate that moves. We have an ongoing relationship with those providers, and those sorts of their efforts in trying to nail down different fraudulent things change, and we help them with that. And the watermark data is used a lot in those sorts of investigations. But if you ask them what their methodologies are for identifying fraudulent activity, they'll say it's proprietary. It's kind of their secret sauce. So, yeah, I think that's it.
All right. On to the next. I get to answer this one first. Demand API documentation is very short and vague. Can we get a proper and detailed document for integrating demand API? So let you know, the document actually is intentionally ambiguous externally. So when you actually do the integration, our ads team will actually provide you with the actual full detailed documentation. So it is kind of that's how we do it. Robin, if there's anything else you want to add?
Yeah, it's designed to be hands-on. It's not something that we want you doing on your own. And that means that you're relying on our team to engage with you and set up a Slack group or whatever sort of communication, that we're using to move things along. And it really is something where every day we're talking through problems that you might be having, or with integration and testing together and verifying that we're receiving what we're supposed to. That sort of integration is unique in our products, I think, in a way where it's so hands-on for that portion of the onboarding. And I think as we move into a more standards compliant zone, that will be more standardized across different platforms. You'll see that things are already set up for that because it's a standard. And so that process, then it'll trickle down to that and be hopefully easier to implement in the future.
Excellent. All right. Next question, and I'm also going to try to take a stab at this one first before giving this to Robin. Would the ads team be willing to make a walkthrough guide for ads framework and do office hours? I think the first thing I would point out is that every ad integration for every channel is very different because everyone has a different ad stack. So actually creating like a general walkthrough guide that's applicable for a wide swath of channels would be potentially challenging. Um, and then, so Robin, you can expand on that. And also, I'm not sure about the office hours, but go ahead.
I participate in the developer Slack, so you can even DM me there if you want. I like to keep it in the RAF area just so somebody can come in and look and follow a discussion if they want to in that thread but also, if you're required, if you meet the threshold of engagement for getting a hands-on ads evaluation, if you request that because you're having an issue, then that sort of back and forth that we would do would help you with that onboarding, that sort of step by step. I'm just going to review Slido really quick and make sure there wasn't another part of that question that I'm missing.
Sure.
A walkthrough guide for the ads framework. So, yeah, I think, we do have some good videos about the ads framework and what it is, but specific to testing with Roku, we'll usually, if you're not monetizing with Roku, we have a vast URL that returns Roku test ads, and that can be used to get a sample response back. Just use it in our stream tester, verify that you see ads returning, and kind of sets the bar for how you would integrate RAF on your end and your own channel. We have, the stuff up on GitHub that have demos on how to approach that and samples of different streaming providers, SSAI, stitching providers that you can be integrated with. And when we're testing, we can gear up your test URL to have the macros that would commonly be used in ad serving that would pass in the RETA and the IP, LAT, that sort of thing. So um, reach out, let us know if you have any desire to start something like that and we can get it going.
Awesome. Thanks. Okay. Uh, Next question. How is Roku going to help us take advantage of programmatic advertising?
I mean, I think Sarah's on. No. So we have a lot of new developments there. I think that if you're engaged with us in monetizing through Roku, you'll or monetizing through TRC or taking advantage of that. And where I'm not sure how ready this product is to talk about, but there is some new developments coming where Roku is going to be running on their own sort of exchange-driven access through Roku and the ads that you can run there and that sort of thing. So, but yeah, more to come on that.
Okay.
But that is
All
a
right.
focus for sure.
So we've got 2 minutes left. So we've got a few more questions left. Let's try to do this in lightning fashion style here. You ready? Once I qualify to earn ad revenue, how do I determine ad revenue share once my app begins generating ad revenue? Is there a formula or chart Roku shares at that point?
For how much revenue total your app is generating based on the ads that you run there. I think that's Roku doesn't have access to that complete information if that's the question. Or if you are asking about how much revenue is generated through Roku's serving of ads and that sort of thing, I think we can provide some context around that through our regular discussions with you when we're talking about performance and comparing metrics and that sort of thing. We have a technical account management team that's great, and they handle that sort of day-to-day correspondence with performance on the campaigns that we run.
We also have payout reporting too built into the developer dashboard that would cover ad revenue. So, no, I'm sorry, that's not correct. That's purely on subscription stuff. So, moving on. Okay. This may be the last question. So regarding server-side ad insertion, what enhancements can developers expect in the near future?
So yeah, there's a lot of different providers that offer server-side ad insertion, and we try to maintain our constant relationship with them and get updates about their platforms, but sometimes things slip. Sometimes you're trying something that may be a new item and we need to update our documentation around best approach, I think that's what we need to do, is to work with you and the provider to figure out what needs to change and get that public. And it's a constant process. We have to keep those things updated or add new ones, or, together.
All right. Thank you so much for everyone that asked questions. Thank you, Robin, for going through these in such meticulous, detailed fashion. I appreciate it. That'll wrap up our ads panel. We'll be back. We're going to take a lunch break right now. We'll be back at 1 o'clock with the panel for developing an SDK for Roku Pay. So we'll see y'all here back at 1 o'clock.